Okay, hi everybody. I'm Sandy Adler with the Adler team at Arizona Best Real Estate. And I'm going to spend a few minutes telling you a little bit about what is going on today in our real estate market here in Metro Phoenix and some of the numbers so that you can see it. And then if anybody has questions, I'm happy to answer them. So this first graphic shows you, this is from June 8th. So this is the oldest thing actually that I'm going to show you. And it shows you the changes in real estate from June 8th of 2019 to June 8th of 2020. 2019 was a record year for sales for residential real estate in the Valley. And you can see here how low our listings are. As of this date, we had 11,232 active properties in the MLS. That goes across everything, single family homes, condos, whatever. So, and that was down from year over year, 32.6%. Listings under contract was up 10.7%. And the median sales price was up 5.7%. Our sales, which you don't see in the rest of this, our sales at this point were lower than last year, down about 30%. And that was probably because of COVID. But there have been huge changes in the last couple of weeks. So today, as of yesterday, single family homes, only 7,604 single family homes in the MLS that are active for sale. That's all of Maricopa County. Our MLS also covers part of Pinal County because the Santan Valley area is in Pinal and Florence is sometimes in. So that's like nothing for a huge community that's 4.3 million people. Our under contract is 11,987. So we have more under contract than we have available for sale. And our closings since May 17th, okay, so in the last month, have been 6,809. So if you look at this, we are closing almost as much in the last month as we have in active listings today. Essentially, we have a little over a 1 month supply of listings available. That means if nothing else came on the market, that we would be out of inventory probably within a month and a half, which is absurd. Okay, it's just crazy. All right, and here's some of what's going on. So if you look at this just to see how far below we are in terms of listings, these are, and I don't see the years here, but this is the various years, all right? 2019 is this green right here. So you can see we started up here in listings somewhere around, let's say, looks like around 14,000. And as the year went on, it went down, down, down to 11,803. And then we started 11,803. We had an uptick in listings, and then they went back down. The uptick, I wish I could see this in another way. But right now, this 9,579, that was as of 6/14, okay? And these are single-family residences, I believe. I think that's just single-family residences. This information is coming from something called the Cromford report, which is a statistical look at just our market that was started by Michael Orr years ago, and we use it really on a daily basis to learn about where the market's going and what the direction of the market is. This next slide shows you something called the Cromford Market Index. So the Cromford Market Index, and this is by major cities, 100 is a balanced market. So if it's below 100, like let's say it was at 80, it would be a strong buyer's market. If it's over 100, okay, they say over 110, then it's a strong seller's market. If you look at this, you'll see Avondale is at 310. Okay, up 44% from last month where it was 215. The West Valley, and you'll notice here, Avondale, Glendale, Maricopa, you can see where the top places are and how high the numbers are. They're over 200. That's how strong a seller's market that we're in today. If you go down the list, you'll see Scottsdale is at 138.5, still a strong seller's market, up 12% from last month. So, and you notice all the green arrows. So when we looked at this last month during the shutdown, there was much more variety here. It looked like the market was totally tanking because people weren't going out. There was still real estate going on because real estate was considered an essential service. But you can see how it's popped back up so tremendously. Our average Cromford market index across the valley today is 186. So it's a very strong seller's market, continues that. We have been a seller's market probably for about 5 years now. Our inventory has been low for 5 years, but this is like ridiculously low. I haven't seen inventory levels like this since 2006, 2007, during the frenzy for the bubble, for the rise of the bubble. Okay, and this is showing you accepted contracts on a weekly basis. So what you can see here, that big dip is right when we were in shutdown. So in February, we were cooking right along, and then was the shutdown. It was that huge dip. And then you can see as we got into May that the number of contracts went way up. And now the last record is 2787. We're above where we were even in February. So there's tremendous rush for products, for properties. I'll tell you a little bit more about that in a minute. Okay, and my last slide that I have is about accepted contracts versus back on market. So the bottom line, the orange line, is contracts that fell out for some reason. And you can see that, you know, when you see those numbers, 868 and 884, that was during the shutdown. People who were worried, either they lost their jobs or they were just worried about going forward on their contracts, canceled their contracts. And then you can see how, again, in the orange line, we're back down now to the number of there's always going to be some contracts that cancel. They cancel because the buyers changed their mind, or they can't get their financing, or they can't agree on repairs for the home. Things like that cause the cancellation. But our accepted contracts are back up above where they were in February, and that was already a strong month. So why? Uh-oh, sorry. Okay, so why? Here's what's going on. There are a number of reasons why our market is like this. We are, again, the fastest growing county in the country. We have one of the fastest growing job markets. If you're watching what's going on as far as like the Phoenix Business Journal, the number of companies that are moving here to the Valley grows every day. I think I see a new one almost every day. And interest rates are remarkably low. What I'm hearing this week is about 3.1%. There are still some out there, depending on your credit, as low as 2.87. That's like ridiculous. And there's a chart that shows that even though our prices have gone up over the last, let's say, 5 years, the actual cost on a 2,000 square foot house, your actual mortgage payment is less by a couple $100s than it was in 2014 because of the change in interest rates. Because back then the interest rates were about 5%, or maybe 4.5%, and now we're at 3%, and it makes a really big difference. So yes, that is certainly driving some of our market. We have a lot of people who want to move here. A lot of people, I have some clients I'm working with right now who live in the city in Chicago. They came here during the shutdown, and they said, why are we going back to Chicago? And now we're looking for a house. Not so easy, but we're looking for a house. Another interesting thing to know is that our market is being called a frenzy. 23% of sales that are happening of contracts are over the asking price. That is particularly true in the hot spots in the West Valley and the Southeast Valley, particularly true for homes that are under $500,000. But even in homes that are over $500,000, we are regularly recommending to our clients that they offer somewhat over the list price, and we are finding tremendous competition in terms of the number of contracts. Last week, my partner Rob was working with some clients in the Southeast Valley. There were 10 contracts on the house. And fortunately, his clients were able to get their contract because he put some things into the contract to make theirs the most appealing. So this is called a frenzy, and we don't see that changing in the foreseeable future. It's a great time to be a seller. It's actually also a great time to be a buyer because of the interest rates, and a lot of people are living in living situations that they're seeing now aren't exactly what they want to be locked in at. When we first started getting locked down, my son made a joke about when you walk into a house with your buyers, you look at them and you say, "So is this the place that you'd like to be quarantined in?" So, but it's a reality, you know, and it's a reality none of us ever really thought about before, but we're living it now. So that's pretty much what's going on overall in the market. I never talk to anybody who doesn't ask me what's going on in the market, and I'm always available to answer questions for people at any time. So feel free to reach out to me. And does anybody online have any more questions?
Sandy, is right now, do you anticipate a lot of foreclosures?
No, foreclosures are very, very low. I think we're like at maybe 1% of our total market is distressed properties. So, and there really hasn't been much in the way of distressed properties in quite a while. And what I've been finding for some time is if a property does go back to the banks often have inflated ideas of what that property is worth. So they're really not necessarily a deal. And this is a very tough market to look for quote unquote deals. So what you really have to look at is what your budget is and how much house you can afford and what kind of loans you can get. And actually, there are a lot of great loans out there. People can get loans with 10% down. There are FHA loans that you can get with 3.5% down. So there are phenomenal loans, even jumbos. When the shutdown first happened, because of what was going on with the stock market, jumbo loans really took a dive, and it was very hard to find investors who would take on those products, and that has changed. So there are jumbo loans available, particularly some great loans for doctors and lawyers and people like that, and their interest rates are back at something more reasonable. They're slightly higher than what you might find in a 30-year loan. And most of those are adjustable, either 7-year, maybe 15 years before they adjust.
Do you think that if you are in your home, does it make sense to put it on the market and see what you can get right now for it, or remodel it and stay there and see, you know, a few years? Or, I mean, like, is it worth, because where the interest rates are right now, is it worth just staying where you are? Refinancing?
You know, it depends on what your motivation is for selling. So if you have a reason to sell and you're motivated to sell, you know, then now is a great time to do it.
Right.
If you're not really sure, you don't know where you want to go, you don't know really what your reason is for selling, I would say it's tougher. You know, to just throw your house on the market and sit. You know, if you get a contract that you like, then what's your next plan? I always ask people that. I see a question here from Pamela White. if my house is Tuscan style, should I sell as is or update the home? I'd really have to see it. There are certainly people buying Tuscan style homes. It depends on the condition. And, you know, in any case, you can always price your home as, you know, in its current condition and sell it to somebody who might want to do the updating themselves. You know, I have clients who recently bought a house that's very Southwest, Saltillo tiles and, you know, Vega beams in the top of it. And a lot of us who've lived here a long time might look at that and say, gee whiz, you know, I know, but they love it. And actually the house is gorgeous. It is just gorgeous. So, you know, there's all kinds of buyers out there. Location is huge. So, you know, location is a big thing also. Yeah. And the price range, but we're even seeing luxury has rebounded, and contracts over 500,000 and up are up 159% since the fall when we went into since the quarantine. So everything is selling is pretty much the story, and there isn't enough. There just isn't enough for the buyer demand is really the bottom line.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
I know.
And, okay, so how do we show houses during a quarantine? So my clients drive separately from me. We all wear masks. The sellers, particularly if the house is occupied, leave all the lights on and open things, open doors that they leave the doors open, they leave the lights on so that we have to touch as little as possible in the home. Most of the houses have hand sanitizer available, so we can use it as we're going through the house. And it's really interesting when you're working with clients who are coming from someplace else and you're trying to show them neighborhoods. So in between one house and the next, we talk on our phones car to car, so I can explain what we're going past and what some of the features of that neighborhood are. So let's see, Deborah Shapiro, I'm considering investing in a residential property as a rental. Which area of the valley is best investment potential for appreciation? Every part of the valley is appreciating. Certainly some will be more than others, and we'd have to talk about that a little bit, but in general, we are appreciating. We're appreciating at a moderate rate, which is a good thing. Rental rates have gone through the roof. So literally, it is less expensive to purchase here than it is to rent. And there are now, because I'm just working with somebody like that, there are loans now for investors that are reasonable. I'm just actually financing an investment property I own. I bought last year, and the interest rate was 4.75, and I'm now refinancing it at 3.5. So there are some really good rates out there for investors. You just have to find the lenders, and I have lenders I can recommend if people need them.
That's awesome.
Does that answer your question, Deborah? I wish I could be more specific, but really every place is appreciating.
Really, do you think like East Valley, West Valley would have more growth potential as opposed to metropolitan Phoenix or Scottsdale?
You know, not necessarily. It really depends on how much you have to invest. Interestingly, an area that I've been working more in lately than I have probably in my whole career, and I've been doing this for 19 years here, is the Southwest Valley. There's a lot of growth going on there. A lot of companies are coming in. So like Avondale and Litchfield Park and Goodyear, there's a lot of activity going on there. You can still buy a single family home there quite reasonably. And I think there's really good potential there, but that doesn't mean there's not good potential in all the rest of the valley either. That's, you know, it's,
yes.
that's sort of that's sort of what I'm seeing happening right now.
Okay.
All right. Anybody else?
Okay.
I guess that's it. You know, if you think of something, let's see, I should have put a slide up with my contact information, but let's see if I can do that now. I'm not sure. Let's see. Oh yeah, I can. Here we go. Maybe. No. All right. My information's at the J. I can be reached at 480-250-5400 or Sandy, S-A-N-D-Y, at bestarizonahomes.com. And I'm always happy to answer questions for anybody. I can give you some information about where your home value is right now if you're interested in that. And I'm always happy to talk to people and help them in any way I can.
Thank you, Sandy. We really appreciate it.
Sandy.
You're welcome. I hope it was helpful.
It was. Thank
Okay,
you.
great. All right. Take care, everybody.
You too. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye.